It's just fantastic.
Hello everyone, welcome to This Week at X. Today we're going to start with a video tweeted by Drama Alert. Neon's apology got to be the worst ever. It's one of the very few Drama Alert tweets where there isn't a community note demonetizing them. Retweeted by Keemstar, who had said, top 10 worst apology videos ever. Bro should have ended his statement by saying, I'm not going to that word more kids in the future. Would have the same effect as this facepalm emoji, also no community note. I'm mentioning this on purpose because Keemstar and Drama Alert, very active on Twitter, both get community noted pointlessly all the time. I like the 3 Ps. Now there are 2 versions of this. Prepare, practice, perform. I like that. It's a good one. The other one is the pointlessly pedantic person. They are the people who community note things that don't need a community note, or offer correction when no correction needs to exist. I have people like that in my life, and they need to stop. It's frustrating. Neon had to apologize recently because he got into trouble on the platform he streams on because he raged at a 10-year-old kid, threatened to harm the 10-year-old kid because the kid used words and those words bothered Neon. Clip of that playing now.
Now they're starting the pedo again. Let me clear that up too, bro. Let me clear that up. I want to start off by saying I do not. Why am I smiling? I want to start off by saying, yo, we got hella people in here. God damn, man. I want to start off by saying, man, I am I don't fuck with that shit. I don't. And the fact that someone let me get to such a bad point in my someone let me get that down bad and say those things is really up, and I want to take full accountability.
Neon is becoming quite a polarizing streamer online, and I find Neon to be a bit of a baity type. Very arrogant, makes money, flaunts it, acts like a tosser, hardly a surprise. They got into trouble, they got a brief ban, and now they're back. I doubt he's learnt his lesson, and I'm almost certain it'll happen again. Moving on, Boogie2988 has been quite vocal of late in his support for Gamergate 2.0. This one being because of Sweet Baby Inc., a company enforcing or encouraging enforcement of diversity and equity in video games. Some of the games they've been involved in, though, are games I want to play because I want to have fun. Boogie, because of his perspective this time round, unlike last time, has been on a bit of a crusade on Twitter, tweeting out on a regular basis video games are supposed to be fun. He's even made merch for it, in that quaint little pixel font. He also put out a Twitter poll. What, in your opinion, should video games be? Fun or something else? He also included a poll beneath that. Should video games be fun? Yes, no, make 'em lectures. 2,500 votes just over. Yes won by a considerable margin. I had retweeted Boogie on this one by saying fun, because all games should have a predominant aspect of fun in them, and that is true. They should be fun, well, totally to be honest. That is after all the point of a game. Of course, another part of the game is to win the game, and now I've told you about the game, you've all lost the game. Congratulations. But playing games is meant to be fun, and there are meant to be winners and losers. When you take a game and use it to push an agenda, it does rub a number of gamers up the wrong way. That is unlikely to change for as long as people are unwilling to accept that you cannot keep pushing these ideas onto people who really don't want it. This is why now we are seeing, certainly in the online space, how boycotts are leading to greater results and harming more companies. You've seen it happen to Bud Light, you've seen it start to happen to Planet Fitness. You're going to see it happen to game companies as well, who have held far too much power and control for far too long, who are not listening to their core audiences when they really should listen to their audiences. Although we all knew this from the offset, they don't really, any of them to be honest, have what can be considered customer support. Time for a little audience participation now. Creepy.org had tweeted, what movie makes you feel sick when you watch it? Included is an image of what I believe to be Human Centipede. The first film, to be honest, was unique. It's a very charitable word, I know, and it was memed quite well with the Human Cent iPad on South Park. I feel sorry for Kyle. I had retweeted this with Care Bears, My Little Pony, anything anime, and of course that movie Cats. That might trigger some people, but it's a personal preference. Do please tell me what you think is a movie that makes you feel sick when you watch it. I have money and I'll happily put it on someone saying now, literally any superhero movie or reboot. I know you guys very well. I demand cookies for that. I mentioned boycotting and Planet Fitness. Planet Fitness was recently trending on Twitter. The reason why is because they have stood by a decision to allow men and trans women into women's locker rooms. This was called out by a female in the women's locker room who had noticed a trans woman or a man, I cannot remember which, shaving. They then banned that person who exposed Planet Fitness for this. It is leading to a hashtag boycott Planet Fitness and a massive decline in the value of Planet Fitness to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars. According to libs of TikTok, who we can all discard or not discard if you like, the policy actually allows males in female spaces. They instruct women to just deal with their discomfort and make sure not to misgender the trans person in their locker room. I'm reading that directly from a tweet, not stating my opinion on this. Of course, you are welcome to draw your own perspective on this about inclusion and inclusivity in changing rooms. It is incredibly divisive, and it is one that is not going to change for as long as biological women in this context do not feel safe having those who are trans women in the same changing room as them, or those that say they are but are actually just saying it to use the women's locker room. There are people like that, we all know that to be true. If you haven't seen the old videos of Steven Crowder doing it for a meme, yeah, that. Although they are quite old, I don't know if any of it's on YouTube anymore, since he's on Rumble these days. In this instance, I do want to know what you think about this, because I don't see it changing anytime soon for as long as Planet Fitness refuse to engage on the subject that cost somebody their membership. And because this has gone very much public, a lot of which was actually tweeted out by libs of TikTok, including videos of the person who got banned, the optics of it do not help Planet Fitness in the slightest. I probably should play a short clip of a relevant part for you to get some context.
Good day. I just wanted to say I just came out of Planet Fitness, and there is a man shaving in a women's bathroom. I realize he wants to be a woman. He gets to be a woman. I love him in Christ. He's a spiritual being having a human experience. He doesn't like his gender, so he wants to be a woman. But I'm not comfortable with him shaving in my bathroom. All right. I just thought I'd say it out loud.
I do hope that helps. Let's move on to some bait. Alan Roberts. I'm not supposed to make Miss Piggy jokes, really? Included is an image from Tess Holliday's Instagram, taken from, at time of recording, 5 days ago. She did in fact get to meet Kermit. Of course, anyone can if you just get some plushies and some sticks. This post is genuinely solely done for bait though, because the last image on the Instagram post has Kermit and Miss Piggy. Seems apt. Seems apt, really, it does. What I'm fascinated by though with her Instagram is that she's now turned the likes or the visibility of the number of likes off. That, because I've done videos on Tess in the past, is a recent change. Except for Reels, you can see it on those. Farming for clicks. Imagine my shock. So now we get to a moderately fun part of this video. A random block of the week. On my Discord server, Zombie Luna Gnome posted a tweet from Kate Scottow. But in caps, I should do the voice, shouldn't I?
Do you know how effing hard this woman works for all these causes? Well, now you do.
There is a video in that, and I do have it. But when I clicked on that link to go look at that video, I discovered I was blocked by Busted Wench. I have no idea what I did to offend you so, but thank you for the random block of the week. I don't know who the person in the video is, but apparently they're very hard working, so we should perhaps have a little look at that.
I was just asking out of interest because it limits you, as you always say. I mean, I have to ask, do you people actually read the words that you just type out before you click send? Is there any part of your brain that goes, hang on a minute, maybe this is a really inconsiderate way to speak to a woman who has just been open and upfront about her disability after being roundedly shamed.
Just a quick interjection as it's relevant. Fiona on her TikTok talks about her disability as well as talking on geopolitical issues, Palestine being one of the more recent ones, and Egypt, Trump, the usual really. She also spends an inordinate amount of time replying to people who leave comments calling her out on her nonsense and bad takes. Thought I'd share that little nugget of information, and they may well get a video on a Megon too, because I find their content quite amusing now. Yes, well, nothing reeks of hard work more than doing absolutely soddo and bitching about it on TikTok. Next we go to a tweet concerning D&D. I saw this via Mickey, no idea who you are, but Mickey, where Raven Wolfgar had tweeted an image of somebody else. Anthony Clements had said, if a player wants to use it, you are obligated as a DM to make reasonable accommodations. Failure to accommodate reasonable options of play makes you a bad DM. People will leave your table over it. Word of mouth will spread. You've now made a name for yourself as a bad DM. Fun. They were referencing Raven, who had said no DM is obligated to completely warp their table and all other players around one person. If you find a table is not for you, politely excuse yourself, then join another or start your own. No DM is obligated to do contortionist acts for the entitled. The way that Anthony Clements has phrased their message about reasonable accommodations made for others is a dumb one, because you are joining that DM's game. It's not the other way around. They're not joining your game, therefore you abide the rules presented by the DM. How is that complicated? Now Mickey had retweeted by saying, know a DM who told a player you could choose play character, but I'll craft the narrative in a way that they'll be killed off almost instantly, so you might want to think of making a new character to replace it. That's a good DM, genuinely. And if anyone wants to beg to be the one that's the center of attention, so the entire story revolves around you, your quirks, I would recommend you be the DM instead, because that's the point of a DM. Oh, and you are basically at that point the human meat shield. That's what you'll become, and you'll be used as in that game if you try and manipulate a DM like that. Get better, scrub. Earlier when we spoke about Boogie, I should have included this as a suitable segue. On the 13th of March, so a little over a week ago, Matt Walsh had put out on Twitter, X, a complete episode of one of his shows. Timestamps talking about the radical wokeness of the video game industry. This was retweeted by Isaac Young, who said it went woke because conservatives like Matt Walsh ceded the territory because they thought making video games was childish. They handed the most powerful weapon of the 21st century over to leftists without a fight. Adding, okay, so I have to clarify because people are claiming I believe Matt Walsh is the root of all evil. That's debatable amongst a lot of people. No, I don't specifically care about Matt Walsh. What I'm saying is that conservatives consistently fail to appreciate the power of entertainment media until it is too late. That and vast numbers of people in the entertainment industry are majority left-leaning, and those who are more conservative aren't as vocal. This retweeted by God Money. What do conservative dorks think right-wing gaming would look like? Everything they love was made by people they hate and they aren't coping well. Appropriate reply, Minecraft was made by a conservative, Epic Games CEO is a Republican, Kingdom Come Deliverance was panned by gaming media for being racist during development. Most Japanese games are probably made by conservatives given the political demographic over there. God Money essentially calling him a dork for not answering the question. Retweeted the first tweet from God Money by Moondragon. You bullied the Five Nights at Freddy's creator for being a Republican. I'm no lover of Republicans, but you threatened, doxed him, and appointed someone else creative control of the franchise. There should be less politics in general within games unless it has a place and point. Conservative or progressive politics shouldn't be artificially inserted. Apolitical is by default turning into conservative media because the rest is getting engulfed by progressives. Someone might say they're wrong here, or Moondragon, she is wrong. I don't disagree with her. Sorry. Not sorry. To the last tweet I'd like to address today. Comment Cop. Dark Viper AU says he is being harassed by the H3 podcast because they play sound bites of him on their show. Included is a clip of Dark Viper AU bitching about the H3 podcast.
This reminded me that very recently I found out that Ethan has something like 6 different sound effects of me on his podcast. Not only that, he has used them frequently for over 2 years. That is just really fucked up.
Divided by 14.
It's 14 pages!
14 pages.
That's right.
14. One of my favorite people on the internet, Dark Viper. 14 pages!
As someone who has been incessantly harassed by him for years in front of thousands, he is one of those truly deserving of being driven off the internet.
Retweeted by Chris the Nazi Narc. Dark Viper, God, you are a massive effing pussy. Comment underneath. The funny thing is, I believe he didn't care when his own audience made jokes about the 14 pages, because I remember it being a bit of a meme in his community after he made the document. But when Ethan does it, it's harassment. Oh wait, I have one more thing. I just realized I have one more tweet. Sorry. We'll move on to one last thing. Gerard the Completionist is raising money for another charity. Retweeted by Boblax. Bruh. In this, I'm intrigued because realistically, Gerard's reputation as a charity type guy has been well and truly tarnished. If he actually manages to do this one properly, raise money for charity and give it straight away to the relevant charities, it would help to repair some of the damage done to his reputation. But he'd have to do it for about 10 years and hope that the other 10 years are forgotten about, and the $600,000+ that he was meant to have paid when he had it. I guess time will tell as to whether or not Gerard actually manages this one or whether he well and truly fecks it, which I would expect. I'd also expect him to raise little to nothing because no one can trust he'll actually give it to charity unless the charity was his own back pocket. But even then he might even delay paying himself.